Picture this, the year is 1996 or 1997, and you're a business person. You want to be able to store phone numbers, remember appointments, find out what time it is in other countries. How are you going to do that? So you could use a paper organizer. So there were these things called filofaxes. They were like small ring binders, and they would have like a world time chart on it. You would have spaces for phone numbers, spaces to write notes, that sort of thing. But if you were a forward-thinking, futuristic person, then you might have one of these. Or I should say, if you were a nerdy 12-year-old like I was, then you might have one of these. So this is an electronic organizer, and you can see here a picture of a paper one on the box. It would have fulfilled a lot of these features electronically. So this was the one I had back in 1997. I remember using this at school. A couple of my mates had similar devices. Today we're going to have a look at what it was like to use one of these things back in 1997. So I got this one off eBay. I don't know what happened to my original one. I suspect it got broke or something, or lost at school. But anyway, so this is the device. You can see here we've got a full QWERTY keyboard. Let's just say full. It's a QWERTY keyboard. You've got a numeric keyboard. You've got the four-way key here, up and down, and you've got EL backlight. So we'll show you that in a moment, but that's kind of like electroluminance. That's very similar to the ones you'll see on digital watches. It would kill the battery. These take, there's a little door on the back. They take watch batteries, so the button batteries. It takes 3 of them. The 2 main batteries, and when you replace those, you're supposed to leave in the backup battery. And eventually when you replace the backup battery, you leave in the main battery. So the idea is you never replace everything at once, because it does have volatile memory. Everything gets lost if you take power away from it. So what features has it got? So we're going to take a look at these in a bit more detail in a second. So we've got telephone number storage. So the idea that you could enter the name of somebody and maybe their company and a few different phone numbers, and then later search for that name anywhere on the go without having a PC, without being a PC at your desk, was quite novel then. So that was much, much better than the paper equivalent. Memo, so that's just the equivalent of the Notes app on an iPhone now. Again, being able to just store some text and later go back and edit it is quite novel. You can't do that with paper unless you've got a lot of Tipex on you. To-do list with priority, so the ability to enter a list of items with a priority and then have this thing sort them in order for you was really cool back then. And schedule, so schedule was quite interesting. I remember using this. So you could put in events. For me, it was things like birthdays and a doctor's appointment or something, but you could put in an event with a date and a time, and it would then, when that date and time occurred, this thing would start beeping at you and flash telling you it's so-and-so's birthday or whatever. Of course, the intended use was probably people who had actual meetings in the workplace, that kind of thing. And then a calendar. So this would actually has a built-in automatic calendar. So if it knows the date, the current date, then it will know whether it's a Saturday or whatever, what day of the week it is. And that actually still works. So I put in today's date, which is the 8th of January 2023, and it correctly realized that it's a Sunday. So pretty impressed with that. It's definitely got longevity. We've then got the world time. So once it knows the date and time and where you are in the world, so I told it I'm in London, it's then able to figure out the time offsets for different countries in the world. Again, a lot quicker to just look it up on here, flick through the different capital cities, than to go and look at the paper alternatives. And also this could easily adjust for daylight saving times automatically as well. We then have an expense manager. So an expense manager, you would put in all of the things that you wanted to claim, and it would then give you a total at the end. Pretty cool for the late 90s. And a daily alarm. So I think the purpose of the daily alarm is you could use it like many people use their phone now to wake them up in the morning. You could have this thing by your bedside and it would beep. It's pretty much like a digital watch style alarm. It's just like a very high pitched beep, but it is a bit louder than most digital watches. So probably would have been used mostly as maybe a travel alarm clock if you're in a hotel or worried about falling asleep on a plane or a train or something. You've also got secret data mode. So what this would let you do is you press a key combination, you put in a password, and then it goes into a different mode. So all of the data you're looking at is now secret data. So the default is anything you enter is not secret, but there is a secret data mode. Anyway, let's have a look at it in a bit more detail. Okay, so I'm going to try and whiz through this. So these are the phone numbers we'd store: business, personal, and general. Expenses. Let's go back. Let's look at memos. So memos let you store arbitrary text, kind of like the Notes app really on an iPhone. Then we have to-dos, so this would be a list of items that can be ordered by priority. And then we have the schedule, so this is where you would enter events and you could then browse through them chronologically. And then this view would be a calendar view, so you can see here the 8th of March 2023 has a colon next to it. That indicates there's something there on that date, and yeah, that's when I entered early. And so when that time occurs, this would start beeping. Here's our world time, so we can see the time in Paris and London, and that still works amazingly in 2023. This is the calculator. And then we got the expenses, so you could put in your expenses, and then you could then get a report back about, totaling them up, that kind of thing. And then the daily alarm as well. So this would sound daily, and you can see in the bottom right, there's a little alarm symbol. That means that the alarm is currently turned on. So this could be used to, wake yourself up, put it next to your bedside, that kind of thing. So we can go into look at the memory free. So this had 34 kilobytes, which was quite a lot back then. Although I seem to remember having a watch that had a similar amount, 32, I think it was. And now we can access the secrets. So if we enter the password here, 123, super secure, you can now see the padlock item in the bottom left. And what this means is that all of the other modes will now only show me secret data. So if we go back into memos, you see there's nothing there now because I don't yet have any secret memos, but if I did, then it would be there. So there's kind of like a two mode system here. And that's it really. That is the Oregon Scientific AM-080C.